One of the most important engagements fulfilled by our French visitors was at the Palace of Westminster. Both houses were assembled in the Royal Gallery of the House of Lords, and after being received and welcomed in speeches by the Lord Chancellor and the Speaker, Monsieur Auriol replied,
En rendant solennellement visite au Parlement britannique,
referring to his visit to the British Parliament, the fortress of human liberty, the President said he brought them the homage of France.
porter l'hommage reconnaissant de la France.
He concluded by stressing the force and future of Franco-British friendship.
La plus éclatante confirmation de sa force et de son avenir.
The climax of this state visit of the French President and his wife was their attendance at the gala performance by the Sadlers Wells Ballet at the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden. This was a tremendous theatrical event, never to be forgotten by anyone lucky enough to be present. Incidentally, Mrs. Churchill and Mrs. Attlee, as well as other MPs' wives, were without their husbands until after the division in the House. The arrival of members of the royal family, who were received by the Earl of Clarendon, the Lord Chamberlain, underlined the brilliance of the occasion, an occasion for the wearing of orders and decorations and a wealth of jewels not often to be seen. As host and hostess, their Majesties received the President and Madame Auriol, the President wearing the sash of the Order of the Bath with which he'd been invested on the day of his arrival. As you see, the Opera House itself had been superbly dressed for this gala night. Here was a picture to go down to history as the King and Queen and their guests entered the royal box. Later, when the vote had been taken in the House of Commons, ministers began to arrive. Dr. Edith Summerskill, Sir Stafford Cripps, Mr. Shinwell, and then the Premier. And at the interval, in a crowded foyer, there was a warm reception for Mr. Churchill. Yes, it was certainly a glittering occasion, with the brilliant performance beyond the footlights and the regal magnificence of the audience. As guests and hosts descended after the ballet, a final picture of splendor was presented. Their Majesties and Princess Elizabeth were each wearing the cordon of the Legion of Honor in compliment to the guests. And now the King and Queen began to take their departure. Could there be any doubt that with this last scintillating display of royal hospitality, the President and Madame Auriol would be returning to France fully assured of the complete success of their visit?